still show the stuff I wanted to show. Alright. Yeah, let's go with that. That's fine. So I'm doing today's stream at a bitrate of 41,000, which is higher. I've done streams at 51,000 before, which is the highest OBS allows. But as of recently, I put it down to 30,000, but I got it to 41,000 today. So we're streaming at a bitrate of 41,000, so the quality should look damn crisp. As crispy as possible. Well, not quite. I could up it to 51,000, but even 41,000 is overkill for 1440p. So yeah, this stream is almost streaming at the highest quality YouTube will even allow. Almost. Hey, yo, what you been up to lately? Oh, that's just getting adventure rank exp. What about you? I think I spelled adventure rank or adventure right. Okay, so let me test the live chat. Let's log into the bterg account and test the live chat. Testing with bterg on duty.
Hey, do you know what? Neither do I. I already forgot.
So, yeah, I mean, the quality looks good. I don't know what else to say. It actually doesn't look much different from 31,000. 41,000 doesn't look much different from 41,000. I think the PS5 only allows like 5 or 6,000 bitrate, which is terrible. Oh yeah, the live chat's in a really good spot now. That's a good spot. Because now it's not going to go over the map, right? Let me make sure. Make sure testing, seeing the extent of the chat. Let's see. Let's see when it cuts off. When does it cut off? All right, let's see. So it should cut off right before the mini map pops up. It should. That's where I want it to cut off. I think. Wait, did it? Is that the top of it? It should cut off after the next message. We're gonna have to do one more message. Oh, that guy.
You're open.
I can't even hit him. Oh well, he's coming back up here anyways.
Swift is the swallow.
That would have been better to use on other enemies. He's not even coming back up here, he doesn't know how.
With sword comes shadow.
I upgraded this ability. That's definitely better. Did one of them just respawn? Right, when I get up here? Fucking bullshit.
Closing in. Up and away.
test out the live chat.
I wasn't done.
Hopefully my resin replenished by now. Let's see, how much resin do I have? Oh, not very much. Oh. Alright, let's test the live chat. Hello. Hello. So yeah, it should cut off right before the mini-map. I think that's just YouTube compression. Even with the high bitrate, it still looks like shit. Yeah! Yeah, okay, the live chat cuts off at a really good spot now. Because before it was overlapping the mini-map.
Faster? Okay, faster.
Oh no!
Logs of adept life goes on. Up and away! Let them fly. Ills be gone. Nowhere to hide.
Come on.
Speed of light.
He's free. Tell me what you see.
Stop!
Oh no.
Up and away!
I only got 3 left. Is that gonna be enough? That might not be enough to get all the adventure rank XP I need today. Oh no. That's gonna really suck if I'm cut off short. Might happen.
Swift as the swallow. Closing in. With sword comes shadow. Hey!
Oh hell yeah.
Dancing in the wind.
Taking forever to get to adventure rank 40.
Incoming.
I'm a little over 2,000 short right now. It's not good. So I'm gonna have to do like 23 more of those. I'm not gonna have enough to do 23. I only have enough to do what? Like 7 more of those today. Oh no. I'm gonna be short by quite a bit.
Don't blink! Nowhere to hide.
This guy went back to full health.
Closing in. Incoming. Hey! Ills be gone. Up and away. With sword comes shadow. Don't blink.
Ow! Just threw like a lava ball at me or something.
Speed of light. Closing in. Dancing in the wind. Nowhere to hide. Don't blink. Butterfly. Closing in. Butterfly.
Oh, he left this guy with like 1 HP.
Swift as the swallow. Speed of light.
Oh, this guy's not even really helping.
Incoming. With sword comes shadow. Speed of light. Time to shine. Butterfly. Get away.
I'm not even gonna have enough to get to adventure rank 40 in this stream. I should switch over. Just enjoy the game, who cares? I mean, that's kind of the point of the game though, to progress. You know?
Whoa! Can I have some?
I mean,
Spread the luck
exploring is one
around.
part of the game.
Butterfly. Up and away. Ills be gone.
I hate when they do that.
Right.
Oh, and he came back with full health. He's gonna fall right off again. Look at that. They all just fall right off.
Rise with the sun.
Oh no, I should probably switch over to Wither and Waves. There's not much I can do today. Huh. Yeah. I need to get
Oh,
like
my plan for the day?
2,200 more.
Doing whatever I feel like, I suppose. Same with tomorrow. And the day after that.
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I kind of want to switch over to Wither and Waves. Oni-san? Huh? I hear people say Oni-san. I don't even know what that means.
Score! Let's see what's inside.
I just got a bunch of stuff out of that. I only know Kawaii and Sensei, though. Sensei? Or no, oh. No, Senpai, I mean. Oh, I see. But guy. I mean, I guess Blaze does kind of sound like a girl name. But it's pronounced Blaze, like with a Z. Then
Swallows nest when
Oni-chan.
skies are fair, but hide when storms are in the air.
Alright. What anime? Hmm. I see. I like SAO.
Oh,
Time
my
I
plan
got
for the day?
current
Doing whatever I feel like, I suppose. Same with tomorrow. And the day after that.
What else? ETC. I like Isekai. Is that the new one? I seen one called something like that in 2015 or 2016.
Swallows nest when skies are fair, but hide when storms are in the air. Oh, my plan for the day? Doing whatever I feel like, I suppose. Same with tomorrow, and the day after that.
What's world watch rate 0 later?
Swallows nest when skies are fair, but hide when storms are in
Instead
the
of
air.
confining themselves to the heavens, God should broaden their horizons in the world below.
The best rattan furniture is made from strands that are smooth, thin, and strong like silk. Furniture like that can be just as precious as a silver family heirloom. That's no exaggeration.
Many insects have a compulsion to follow the light, and humans are the same. Except we call that light hope.
Oh, my plan for the day? Doing whatever I feel like, I suppose. Same with tomorrow, and the day after that.
Instead of confining themselves to the heavens, God should broaden their horizons in the world below. Exploration and trials. Adventuring is right up my alley. Many
Swallows
insects
nest
have a
when skies
compulsion
are
to
fair,
follow the light,
but hide
and
when
humans are the
storms
same.
in the air.
except we call that light hope. Exploration and trials. Adventuring is right up my alley.
I don't know. Why do so many people like One Piece? I don't know. Is One
Many
Piece really
insects
that
have a
good?
compulsion to follow the light, and humans are the same,
Clips
except
of
we call that
One
light hope.
Piece. I also tried
Instead
a
of
few
confining themselves to
seasons
the heavens,
of Fairy
God should broaden their
Tail
horizons in
and
the world
hated
below.
it.
The best rattan furniture is made from
I think it was
strands
called
that are
Fairy
smooth,
Tail. That was like 10
thin,
years
and
ago I
strong
watched
like
that
silk.
Fairy Tail anime.
Furniture like that can be just as precious as a silver family heirloom.
Exploration and
That's
trials.
no exaggeration.
Adventuring is right up my alley.
Look, look, he left. He probably loved Fairy Tail. Guaranteed. Yeah.
Swallows nest when
I
skies
don't
are
like
fair,
those anime,
but
bro.
hide when storms are in the air.
Like Dragon Ball Z, too many episodes. One Piece, too many episodes. Like if I'm gonna sit down and watch literally hundreds of hours of anime, the animation has to be at least like decent. And the storyline has to really hook you in from the start. I don't find that with like Fairy Tail or they don't really have very engaging stories. Like Naruto is the only one of the long anime that had an engaging story from the start. And that's why it hooked me. But none of those other animes really have engaging stories. And Bleach had a pretty engaging story to start with, but the animation is garbage by today's standards. But no, Fairy Tail sucked. I watched that like 10 years ago. I watched a few seasons of it to try to give it a chance, and I fucking hated it.
Closing in.
I don't know, man. I don't know if people can sink hundreds of hours into anime that have shitty animation quality. Very boring stories. Like I said, even Naruto gets pretty fucking boring at times. I've watched 700 episodes, 800 episodes of Naruto, however many it had. I probably skipped a good 50 or 60 of those because they were so boring. And a lot of them are filler episodes. They don't even matter for the storyline. I don't know what's up with that shit, bro. Oh no. I'm running low. running real low. I think I have enough.
The best rattan furniture is made from strands that are smooth, thin, and strong like silk. Furniture like that can be just as precious as a silver family heirloom. That's no exaggeration.
Oh shit, it's blue? I'm not getting lucky with those. None of these have Lan Yan in the background.
Swallows nest when skies are fair, but hide when storms are in the air.
I need a season with Lan Yan to come back around. I really want to max her out.
Butterfly, dancing in the wind. Cut to the chase. Don't blink. Hey! Closing in. Up and away. Closing in. Swift as the swallow. Speed of light. Nowhere to hide. Don't blink. Wheel of life. Sacred name. Fortune preserver. Faster. Okay.
Go! You're free now! Not too far now.
Speed of light. Hey! Life goes on.
Get him, King. What's up, Metric Sphinx? Damn, it's been a while. Oh, like a month or two? Alright, I'm gonna do one more of these and I'm gonna switch over to Wither and Waves. I'm gonna keep the same live stream going, but I don't know, there's nothing really I can do much more in Genshin Impact today. I need to wait for my resin to recharge. So, yeah. I'll do one more. Switch over to Wither and Waves.
Up and away! Butterfly! Dancing in the wind. Cut to the chase. Closing in. Up and away. Closing in.
Alright. Yeah, so how close am I? Probably like 1800 adventure rank XP. Then I'll level up. So I don't even know if I'll be able to get that done tomorrow. We'll see. Probably not though. I need a lot more resin. It's not recharging fast enough. It feels like it used to recharge a lot faster, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Okay, so where even is Withering Waves? I do have it installed. There it is. It's got to update. Wait, I got to even update the launcher before I can even update the game. Alright, the launcher is 413 megabytes. I got good Wi-Fi. Even while I'm streaming at this high bit rate, I can still download that super fast. But it's a matter of how fast the updated game will download, because this is going to take more probably. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's 8.2 gigabytes. It'd probably go faster if I wasn't streaming, but it's still going pretty fast. Yeah, like 110, 111 megabytes a second. That's decent, I guess, considering I'm streaming too. Almost 2 gigabytes down. 1 minute remaining. I got some photos I can't open on this desktop here. I'll get banned by YouTube. I wonder, hold on, I'm gonna see if you zoom in on the stream if you can see them. I hope not. As long as the YouTube bots can't pick it up, we're good. Oh yeah, no. Oh no, it's too blurry. Even at 1440p, it's too blurry. Thank God the quality. If this was like an 8K, you would probably be able to zoom in and see those photos you probably shouldn't see on YouTube. But it's not high enough quality to tell. That's good. Oh, now it's gotta verify the file, right? Forgot it has to do this bullshit. Why is it going so slow? One. What the fuck? Yeah, it's gotta verify the files. How long have I been live? 38 minutes. Alright. Just waiting on this. It's not even downloading anymore. It's just decompressing the file. I don't know why this one goes so slow. The Genshin Impact one was a lot faster. Maybe Withering Waves is downloaded on my SSD or on my hard drive, not my SSD. I don't know. Should be going a lot faster than that. It's not even using a network connection to do this. Wait, if there's a new update, that means there's probably new characters. I should try to unlock the new characters. Yeah. It has been a while since I played this game. I imagine they added new characters. Chica. Oh, this is taking forever, Chica. No, you don't gotta get up. You don't gotta get up, Chica. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Alright, is it done now? Oh, of course, the last little bit goes the slowest. And then it's got to verify them after decompressing them. Because why not, right? Like I can't verify them while it's decompressing them. It's got to verify them after as a whole separate process. Wow. Look at this bullshit. This is some bullshit. Well, let me check something. Is I gonna take up more storage? Skip. Fuck off. No, I don't think it takes up any more storage. Yeah, no, it looks good. I'm still under 1.5 terabytes. My CPU fan and my GPU fan are almost both maxed out right now. What? No. Max TGP 140 watts. That's for the GPU. Alright, we're good to go. Check in game version and files. We're good now. The webcam is shit. Get out of there, Aslan. Get out of there. Aren't you listening to me? Go. Go. I don't know what the downscale filter does. Go. Oh shit, another update. Fuck off. It's gonna have to verify this update too after it's done downloading, right? They just slam you with the updates. This would be even worse if I had slow internet. Can you imagine? And it closed the game too. Because why not? Why the fuck not? What happened to the live chats? They just disappeared. Yeah, whatever. Oh yeah, now it's gotta verify them. Compiling shaders. Fuck, at this point, don't even update the game. Because this just makes the game so much less unenjoyable. Just leave the game as it is. Holy shit. One bar, 2 loading bars, 3 loading bars, 4 loading bars, 5 loading bars. We're on like the 6th loading bar right now. That shit's crazy. Oh, and you logged me out too. Why? Why not? Why not make this process as painful as possible? No reason not to, right? I honestly don't even know what account I used. I think I logged in with PlayStation. Let me try this email. I don't think this is the right email. This is like an old email. I don't think I used this email. This is the email I used for my PlayStation account a long time ago, so might be this email? Possibly. Wait, was that actually it? There's no way. There's no way that was actually it. I think that was it. Oh yeah. That was it.
Let me be there for everyone.
The battlefield.
Let's reach farther destination.
I got my shit back.
The powers are split.
Alright. So when I left off on a story quest, I think. Whoa! They just gave me a bunch of those. Genshin Impact is never that generous. They'll charge you like 20 bucks for what I just got. Hold up. Let's see. Where is it? Here, right? Yeah. That's where I purchased those. So Convene is Convene. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be able to unlock some character. Let's see, which one do I want? Which one looks really cool and strong? I guess this girl's the only one from the event. This guy too. Alright, I'll do this girl, I guess. Let's get some of those. The gold ones. Yeah, how many can I get? 9? Alright. So that's all I can get right now. Alright, let's do 10 here, see what I get. Oh! Oh, what is it? Oh, that's a 5-star.
The sea is a mirror. It reflects the shape
I got
of
her.
the soul in its tides.
I got her first try. Yeah, she's a 5-star. Alright, so I got 4 of these left. Oh, nice. 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 Yeah, this game's a lot more generous than Genshin. Is this her special weapon? I think this is her special weapon. I can try to get it. I can only get 3 of these though. Probably won't get it. Worth a shot. Yeah, no, not that one. Not that one. Alright, only got 1 left. No, wasn't it. Alright. I got 4 of those too. Sure. Just spend them, because why not? cool. Oh, I got a lot of these unlocked now. Hold up. Alright, this is my last chance to get her special weapon. Doubt I'll get it, but I want it, so trying for it. Weapon is guaranteed with an 80 convenes? How many have I done so far? Like 4? Maybe 5? Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get it. Yeah, I didn't get it. That's fine. I got a new
Let
character
me be there
at least.
for every.
Let's reach Flitz.
Let me be there for. Why hesitate?
So this is my new
The
5-star.
tides have whispered of your arrival.
I want to try her out, but I'm stuck doing this story mission right now. So I guess let's try to get this done. Oh yeah, Yang Yang's resonance chain.
Let me be there for.
Let's reach farther destinations together.
I did unlock this, right? Oh yeah, right here. No? I don't know. I don't even know what I unlocked with her. Whatever.
There are several floating platforms here. Perhaps we can make use of them.
I don't get why I gotta use these shitty ass characters for this story mission.
Watch out! I can feel tacit discords ahead.
What's the sound?
Tell truth from facade.
Speeding up.
You're wide open.
We good now? Am I done with this mission? Or storyline? Whatever it is.
These rocks are blocking our way.
Finally, our signals, I have to say, now back to business. Luckily, you've seen what...
The structure...
There is a float.
What do you want me to get rid of?
Aim at that wall. We can pull ourselves over.
Wow. That's cool.
More defeat.
Understood.
He did it.
This is some bullshit. I'll go with quality. Alright, yeah.
The
Sounds about
disruptor's
right to
power
me.
is down to 1/3. It can only fire it one more time. After that, it needs to recharge. Take care, everyone. I'm on standby to help you anytime.
Let's try pulling the floating boulders together. This should make a path ahead.
Huh.
Leave it to me.
One moment.
Whoa!
We can work the terrain to our advantage here. Let's try to pull that wall down on them, and they'll be trapped underneath. Well done.
Oh, come on, I'm sick of this story level, whatever it is. I want to be done with this.
Same situation. Let's do it again.
This shit sucks.
An impermanence heron. In this place. Rover, let's approach it with care.
Interesting. Oh. So we actually gotta fight him? With these shitty characters? You're not even letting me use my good characters.
Ready for battle.
Alright, whatever. I just want this to be over and done with.
Storm, hear my command. Synchronization. Tempest.
Swift and resolute.
Synchronization.
Tell truth from facade.
Let me be your blade. Shape the shapeless. Speeding up.
You're wide open. Fear no more.
Are we done now?
So many. We're almost there. We don't have.
We're almost there? Are you fucking kidding me? Wow. This is such a joke. Wow. I don't want to be doing this.
There are more floors up there. But how are we going to climb up?
I can see a gravity stream ahead. It's currently blocked off. We'll pull the rocks away first, and let it carry us up there.
Sure.
Wouldn't hurt to be more prepared. A good vantage point. It moved a little.
Almost there. We finally did it.
We'll reach the top soon.
What now?
The road ahead is completely blocked off.
I don't care.
You choose
Skip.
where the disruptors are.
I don't care. This is not fun. What's that? Destroy that shit and then we're finally done?
It seems the culprit is hidden
I don't
deep within
care.
this statue.
I don't care.
That's another moon. What on earth is happening?
Okay, I think once we beat this motherfucker, it's finally over. Skip. Skip. I don't
Crownless.
care. We only get 2 characters with this.
It's been immobilized. Time to strike.
Come on, get him. Oh.
Those frequencies we just crashed. The moon's drawing them in?
That was pretty easy. Ugh. What now? Something's gonna come out of it, right? Yeah. No, it's not a hot anime girl, that's a surprise. This game has a lot of hot anime girls in it.
That moon has cannibalized the Crownless's remaining frequencies
Wow.
to create another monster.
Now we gotta fight another
Remember, I
fucking
saw it
boss.
during the battle beneath the crescent.
I'm so done with this storyline. I really am.
No hesitation.
You're wide open. Tell truth from the sun.
One with the sound.
Time to fight.
Oh shit, he's got a combo.
Wind Rider.
Or she's got a combo.
Should we teach our new recruits? How dare you?
One with the sound.
Ready for battle. Tell truth from the sun.
Swift and resolute.
Can this just be over with? They really gotta draw this out.
Watch out for its ranged attacks.
Wow.
Rover, have you noticed? It avoids attacking the moon behind. That moon must be the core of our enemy. This thing is weakening. I'll shield you from its attacks. Rover, find a chance to strike its core. Copied my weapon already, huh?
I can't even attack. There we go.
One more time.
Half the time it doesn't even fucking work. What now? What's this? Cool. Can I skip this? This is kind of boring. supposed to be like some intense emotional moment, but I'm completely detached from the storyline. I don't give a shit, so I don't see why I should give a shit about this boss fight either. The storyline in this game is ass. What? No clue what that means.
Bad timing.
Great. I gotta beat this fucking thing with one character.
One with the sound.
I don't even know what that new combat thing is. I'm gonna need it to win this, right? But I don't even know how to use it. Probably not gonna win this. What now?
You're wide careful. You're wide open.
My stamina isn't even recharging fast enough to dodge this shit.
One with the sound. You will obey.
From the side.
One with the sound.
Time to fight back.
Bad timing.
This thing just dodges everything.
Ready for battle. Tell truth from the side.
I don't want you to kill it too fast, I guess.
Fear no more.
One with the sound.
This is a fairly easy boss fight compared to Final Fantasy Strangers in Paradise. That game has way harder boss fights. I think I'm finally done with this shit. I really hope so. There better not be another form. Alright. Now as long as another monster doesn't come out of that sphere thing, we're good. What now? This is the lamest shit ever. What the fuck is that? It's a Labubu. The Labubu of power. What the fuck is that?
Food. I want food.
What? finally done with this bullshit?
As the
Alright,
conceptualization
skip.
of war.
Skip. Don't care. Yeah, I think I'm done
An
now.
unexpected discovery.
Gather round, I have a tale to spin.
no,
Our
please let me
feather-haired
skip.
maiden faces a horde of beasts. And just in time, a ray of light. Sunbeams burst through the clouds,
I can't skip.
banishing darkness out of sight. From the statue emerged two. Guess who we have?
I don't
None
care.
other than General Jian and the legendary rover. And lo, ruins fell, a colossus shattered.
You could let me
Overthrax
skip this.
meets
They
its
just
defeat.
don't.
Mountains and rivers exulted in
Ugh.
glee as the war's finale came to be.
I don't fucking care.
As they say,
Ugh.
why fear when fate is ours to
This is
shape?
painfully boring.
Amidst setbacks, heroes will rise to conquer. Their determination fuels the fire of hope in our darkest hour. Under starlit skies we battled, divine rune roaring above. Now victorious, our songs of triumph shall shake the clouds. And our story goes on.
There's no reason I shouldn't be able to skip that bullshit. Yeah, I finally got my characters back. We're finally done. This is what I've been waiting for.
The
Alright.
power to split. and
Remind me
match
to
my-
never do a story mission in this game again.
Perfect weather for
I should try to
That was
smile
actually
more,
like
you say.
painfully boring.
Why has
Felt like I
The
was fucking
tides
back in
have
school in
whispered
math
of
class.
your
I was so
arrival.
bored. Alright, here's my new
How
character. Let's try her out.
Like a storm crashing into a still sea, stirring it to life with waves that reach for the sky.
Sure, add that guy. No. I don't know. Upgrade. Sure. Maxed him out. So how do I add her to my party again? Probably on this screen? Yeah. She's only level 27?
With you, I'd be delighted.
The power to split.
The tides have whispered of your arrival.
Sure, do that. Do that. Holy shit, why are her tits so big? What the fuck? Bro, why did they make her boobs so big? That is kind of weird. They even gave them jiggle physics. What the fuck?
Why not savor this?
Well, let's go test her out on some enemies. See if she's good in combat. Should be. Oh, shit. get out of here this way.
Why not save it?
Yeah, it just looks so, like, how big her tits are. It just makes it so disproportional to her body. Like, what the fuck? Half her body weight is like her tits. She's so fucking skinny. But then for some reason her boobs are like massive. I swear to God, like half her body weight is probably her fucking boobs. That's weird.
Why not save it? Oh, this will be fun.
Yeah, she's pretty good, I guess. Definitely not my favorite character, but strong. I want to test her out a bit more. She uses her umbrella as a weapon, or
Who
something
will
like that.
sink into the depths with me?
Oh yeah.
Oh, this will be fun.
Okay. She could be worse, but not my favorite. Oh, it goes away. I do need a third one. Where can I find a third square? No idea where I could find a third one. What's that? I don't even know what that is.
I can fly too.
Yeah, I don't... Wait, is that it? Oh, it's just laying right here? Really now? I don't think that was there before. I would have noticed it.
The knight's challenge has arrived.
Oh shit.
True form revealed at last. Atonement. Salvation.
Need to find more.
Shadows must be purged. Exonerate. Windstorm. Sweep all the way.
Oh, he picked me up. The hell?
What a divine breeze.
No. I missed it. Ah.
Woolly sense is tingling. Into Woolly's belly you go! You're it! Dummy funny, I choose you. Woolies, let's race!
The night's challenge has arrived. A divine ally then. I can fly too. The night's challenge has arrived.
There's a ladder going up there.
Let's call it a night's great harvest.
things are speedy. I can't even pick them up. I don't know why I haven't unlocked that yet. Is it too high up? Oh, it's pretty low.
What a divine breeze.
I don't like the puzzles in this game. I'm not doing that puzzle.
Why not save? Who will sink
Oh, this will
into the
give me a good
depths
test
of
round.
nature?
Tested on this guy. My new ability.
Engulfed by seas of venom.
It wasn't even that good. Not gonna lie, it kind of sucks. It's not as good as her ability. This ability is way better. Yeah. I don't even really like the new 5-star character. She's not that good. She's just like okay. She's not amazing. She's not good. She's just okay. This chick is really good though. I don't even know their names. Probably have
Shadows
names.
must be purged.
I don't know their names though.
Atonement. Exonerate. Face your destruction.
Let's try it on these. she died.
Try not to blink.
These guys are pretty tough, actually.
Into Woolly's belly you go!
Expecting them to be that tough.
Dummy funny, I choose you.
Take a breath and let it sink into the endless deep.
Here we go again. You're in. Dummy fuck didn't hurt at all.
Why not save it?
Am I at 2 hours yet? Oh, I still gotta go for another 30 minutes.
Who will sink into the depths with me? Feel the tide home.
I don't want to go for another 30 minutes. I'm not doing that for another 30 minutes. Hell no. Wait, Mr. Sneed is live?
Be very applicable to what I'm doing. You know, might be able to use some components from that. You never know, or combine them. I don't know. You know, imagine a crossover between those two. It's really what you should go for if you wanted to really change things in the world and really have a lot of power, you know, to do what you wanted to do. You know, like that's what I'm saying. Imagine a Batman that can fly like that, you know, with the palms open and be able to fly, you know what I'm saying? With like, you know, like mini jet engines, stuff like that. Like those are the things I'm going to be studying and trying to figure out. It's not the easiest thing. It's kind of scary. It's got to be figured out. All of it, one way or another. So that's the thing, you know, I'm a genius. I'm not going to shrink for the world. I'm going to be myself and remember who I am. You know, I'm not, what was his name in the movie? Tony Stark or whatever. I'm a little bit like him, a little bit, but a lot different, you know. Hold on. I'm not too big on that actor. I forget his name and I don't even want to talk about him, but not my type of guy. I've heard about his past too, not at all my type of guy. But he's all right, I guess. But you know, like I said, I mean, we gotta focus, man. You know, that's my whole point. You know, you people don't get like, I have no chance. I have no hope, no nothing. I just have hope because I'm holding on to it. My hope comes from me, comes from God, comes from Christina. You know, Christina is my hope. God is my hope. You know, um, for me to make it this far with like no resources and nothing, for me to have accomplished all this, I mean, is absolutely incredible. I mean, it really is surreal. I mean, I funded this whole thing out my pocket, my own pocket, like I said, for 2 going on 3 years. People respect it. People know it's real. And I understand if some people are just trying to be nice, but some people's personalities just really don't click with me. And it's like you just, you don't seem to get the timing of the atmosphere, and it's very out of place. And sometimes that's just the response you're going to get from me. Sometimes when you're sitting there and you're repeating yourself and you're talking weird, I mean, how do you want me to respond? I mean, see, that's the thing. Like, it's like, that must be you projecting again. That's what y'all do. Y'all project. So because they're fake, they want to project. Well, you're talking about you. So I'm real as it gets. So that's why I don't really respond. I don't really say nothing. I just give you a look and that's it. Like, yeah, what's up? Huh? You know what I mean? So, I mean, folks are starting to figure out how I get down and who I am a little more, I'm sure. And, that I'm not the one. And, yeah, that's about it, man. I've been relatively calm down here in Austin. I was running around crazy, and in a lot of places, Atlanta, North Carolina. North Carolina, I was doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Vegas, I was doing all sorts of crazy stuff. So I'm relatively calm now, honestly. People should be happy that this is my career, and I'm not just out like doing whatever willy nilly. Because I have a lot of strength, I'm not Kelly Muscle. I remember when I walked him to my Porsche, man, he said, "That boy ballin'." Yeah, he shook my hand, and then the one up there in Benton Harbor said, "Do you know how you look?" You shook his hand and then said this. What do you, I look like reality? Yeah, he shook my hand as well. What do you mean? I said the truth. Oh, look, anyway, we had a conversation. The minute he started talking about Hollywood been good to me, I was like, yeah, well, that's about it. It went left after that. It didn't go left in person. We were cordial, we were nice, respectful, and after that, yeah, I decided to say the truth. I mean, what do you mean? I think that looks like a guy that's pretty solid. I mean, well, like, that's what I do, so it's completely consistent. I do radio talking about this stuff. I said how I felt. So that's what I'm saying when folks just be saying things like, in what world? Y'all act like you have, like, your audience is greater than the world. The audience is the world, not some group of 8 people who can't get it together. What? See, that's what I'm saying. They saying, you should do things backwards. No, I'm all right. That's for you. You should cater to what we want and what we tell you to do. You should be like us. I'm okay. I'd rather not be homeless. I'd rather not have nothing and be in dilapidated circumstances every day. I'm all right. You can go ahead and back up and go your own direction. All right. Whatever you want me to do, I'll probably do the opposite because you're not making much sense right now. That's how a conversation goes with all of them. Believe me, I'm tired of hearing it. Like, real talk. Always got something to say, but it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up. We're winning. We're winning. If I stay in my own energy always, I'm good. My energy is a winning energy. Because I'm a winner. I'm the champ, boss. Right? We already up over, what was it like? Here, let me look. Hold up. We up over $68. That's pretty good. Okay. I already got some more videos up since then. It's August 21st. Like I said, we got about 10 days. Well, not really, because it's about to be midnight and it's going to be the 22nd. Great. Well, I'm just going to have to hurry and do my best. I have to try to make the impossible happen the best that I can. I can only do so much, but I'm trying, So pray to God, please God, help me to pull this off again. I just did it this last month. Please bless my business, bless me, and please allow me to get this done, because if I could just do this and get over the $100 threshold before the end of the month, and if y'all could help me, if everyone could donate and y'all could get me like over $100 and get the website paid, I'd be very grateful, because then I'd at least be in a position where I can at least try, it's still nowhere near where I need to be, but try to do this, the right way. And then I would have a check coming, next month on the 21st through the 26th, which is what we really need. So I did great pulling it off this go around. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it again, but I'm giving it my best, man. I'm truly giving it my all. I'm doing everything I can. So, is what it is. By the way, on that note, hold on. You have no idea that I'm really like Batman, like super thug, and one of them made a mistake doing that. That's why I can't wait. I just can't wait to get to these major cities and states, because now I know, like, if somebody talks to me wrong, I just transform into Batman. Yeah. Don't have to do no talking. Don't have to go back and forth with you. Just transform into Batman and show up. Think about that for a minute. And that's how it is. We'll be laughing and ha tee he, and then I just go completely serious and go quiet. Because I'm a real gangster. You have no idea that I'm really like Batman, or like super thug.
Life regrets. Let's talk about it.
How many of you young people are putting money away for your retirement? The reason I ask is because here I am, 73 years old. As you can see, I'm in my car. I'm doing Uber Eats to supplement my joke of a Social Security check I get every month. The reason is I've been a carpenter all my life, and most of the companies I worked for in the past didn't have retirement plans or a 401k. Now, I'm not blaming them. I blame myself. I should have put some money aside for my retirement, but I didn't, so shame on me. So my advice to you is to put as much money away now as you can for your retirement. Think of it as a bill. Instead of saving what's left after spending, spend what's left after saving. This way you'll have plenty of money to retire on and you'll enjoy your retirement. I hope you take heed to this advice. God bless and have a great rest of the day.
That's deep there, folks. I mean, let's think about that for a second. You hear the stories about I think about, for me, like in high school, college, it was always like the door greeters at Walmart that needed to supplement income. Now it's actually a lot harder for a lot of elderly people because with the rise of cost of living, if they didn't put anything away for retirement, Social Security is not paying for much. And Social Security, that's a whole nother conversation in itself. But the main point I want to make with this clip is you have to think about what you're going to do later in life. You have to. I mean, there's no way around it. The biggest piece to this all right now, yes, I understand times are tough, cost of living's high, but I'm going to say times are not always going to be like that. It's not always going to be like that for the rest of our lives, right? It may be tough, and we may not be able to live the fancy lifestyle we want to live right now because of the cost of living, but we have to be planning for the future. And that may mean decreasing our lifestyle a little bit until we can get ahead, right? Have an emergency fund. Pay off your debt and stay out of freaking debt, people. The main common denominator in almost all these clips that I watch and we react to and talk about on these videos is people complaining about not being able to get ahead or struggling financially. And the main reason is because of the debt they chose to get into. Once your debt's paid off, we need to make sure we have a fully funded emergency fund, right? I want to have a nice chunk of cash sitting in an account. And that's my own insurance policy on myself. In case something goes wrong, I lose my job, I have that money I can pull from. If you guys are looking for an account, there's a cash account I recommend, public, down below, link in the description. It's also an investing app you can invest in. Check them out, link down below in the description. After that, we need to really start thinking about investing. And I would even say start investing on towards paying off debt, depending how high the interest rates are. But guys, like he mentioned, he had a great idea. He was like, pay yourself first. When you hear pay yourself first, that means start investing now. Use it as a bill. Use it as a bill to invest money every single month for your future. So like he said, you can enjoy your retirement, because the worst thing that can happen is, let's say you're, in your 70s, you have your little grandkids running around and they got a football tournament or something down, a wrestling tournament one weekend, and you can't make it because you have to work Saturday and Sunday because you can't afford to live because you didn't plan for your retirement. You do not want to do that, guys. So take his advice and start planning now for your future.
If I were to choose to live my life over again, I wouldn't live it in this way. Do you know Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not personally.
No. The book. The end of that book would bring tears to my eyes for years. Christopher Robin has to go to school, and he's telling his friends, the toy animals, that he won't be able to play with them so much anymore. And what I wasn't aware of when I went to medical school and when I was a physician is how driven I was to justify my existence in the world. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. When you're driven to work too hard, you actually ignore what matters. And what matters is what you were telling me last night about how every summer you take a bunch of weeks away from your podcast and you just spend time enjoying your kids and your wife and your family. I didn't do that. I always felt I had to keep working. And the book ends with the statement, and whatever they do or wherever they go in the enchanted forest, the little boy and his bear will always be playing together. And that phrase would bring tears to my eyes for years. People sacrifice their playfulness, their joyfulness, being driven by unconscious needs to validate your existence. And where does that come from? Again, that comes from childhood trauma. Play is so important, and joy is so important. In that sense, we can always keep playing in the enchanted forest, and that's just essential, I think.
All right. Well, we're getting deep on this video, guys. No, it's a good one. So I'm filming this on a Sunday, and I had some exciting news. My wife and my son got baptized today. It was a very special day. I definitely cried a little bit. And sitting in church, we had all of our family with us. We had, some of our very close friends come and, enjoying this special moment with us. And it really got me thinking, and it was like, wow, to be able to enjoy these moments in life, to look back and cherish these moments when I'm older, of having my loved ones and, family and friends nearby to celebrate this amazing moment as my wife and son getting baptized, and it's truly, truly special. Life is such a gift, guys, and I want to take full advantage of it. And for me, my kind of goal in life, and I'm lucky I figured this out at a young age, was to be able to maybe not have all the fancy toys, bells and whistles, but to work towards having the freedom of choosing when and where I wanted to go in life. And I preach that all the time, but I truly think having that freedom is like winning the lottery. And more importantly, it gives you more flexibility to spend time with your loved ones, right? I remember, I've said this before on the channel, I remember dropping off my son, who's now 8, and I remember dropping him off. He was around, I think, a year old. And for a very short time, we had to put him into daycare. And I remember dropping him off at daycare, and every single time I drop him off, he would cry for me, because I had to drop him off there, and he didn't want dad to leave. And guys, I'm not gonna lie to you, there was times I'd get in my truck and I'd drive to work and I'd start crying. I was like, this doesn't make sense. Why I have to drop my kid off with someone who's not mom or dad or grandparents, to go to work, to pay bills, to live a life that is it even what I wanted to do? And to me, this is my opinion, guys. To me, my family's most important. So that was my motivation, right? That was my motivation. I knew, and I was already on the path. I was already working towards it, but I knew, hands down, I was going to do everything that I could to get myself set up to where I could have the flexibility to spend more time with my family, to spend more time with my loved ones, because you never know when their last day or your last day is going to be, unfortunately. So to me, what was most important was having that flexibility financially and to live a very, very, very simple life in order to gain that freedom. I know we're getting deep here, but gosh dang it, guys, like this is the stuff I think about all the time. I want to spend as much time as I can with my family while also doing something that's fulfilling to me, like making videos on the internet, on YouTube, and hopefully, helping people out there financially. I love seeing the comments of you guys, becoming debt-free, chasing your dreams, of changing jobs or whatever it is you guys are doing, opening up your first Roth IRA. This channel has been such a fulfilling moment and a piece of my life that I will cherish forever. And I know I'm getting a little deep here, guys, but gosh dang it, this means the world to me. I truly cherish every single one of you guys that watch my videos, that leave me the comments, that I can tell you guys are making progress in your debt-free journey or your investing journey or whatever it is, or maybe you hit the 2 comment status. Wherever you're at in your journey, just know that I'm there, I appreciate it, and I am cheering for you guys, okay? From the bottom of my heart, I genuinely care about each and every one of you, and I love doing this. I really do, and I'm excited for all of us to grow together financially.
Imagine you're on your deathbed, and standing around your deathbed are the ghosts representing your unfulfilled potential. The ghost of the ideas you never acted on. The ghost of the talents you didn't use. And they're standing around your bed, angry, disappointed, and upset. They say, we came to you because you could have brought us to life, they say. And now we have to go to the grave together.
You're gonna look up, these days gonna keep going by. So do you let the days go by and look up and you done wasted a year doing what? Or do you just pick it up? All right, well, gotta figure it out, made some mistakes, life goes on. Let me figure out life from this point.
What would happen if you just stopped wasting the opportunities that are in front of you? You'd be who knows how much more efficient, 10 times more efficient, 20 times more efficient. That's the Pareto distribution. You have no idea how efficient people get. It's off the charts.
If you think the price of winning is too high, wait till you get the bill from regret.
Well, we're only doing 3 clips in today's video because I wanted to hit on 3 very important topics that mean a lot to me. The first one was obviously getting your finances straight, which leads you into the second one. So you're not having to do Uber Eats or, become a Walmart greeter just to make ends meet. Now, if you want to do that in your retirement because that's what you enjoy, that's totally different. But to make extra income because you need it, there's ways around it. And then second, spending time with family and your loved ones. That's what's also most important to me. And then now third is making sure you check off the boxes that you want to do in life. We only get one life to live, guys, right? I look at life as a experiment. I look at life as something to cherish, as something to try out. And I always have lived by, like, I at least want to, if there's something out there that excites me or that I'm curious about, I'm going to try it. Food, travel, skydiving in Hawaii, whatever it is, I want to try it. And I really think that's key because there may be something, let's say, for example, you wanted to start a business, right? That's one of your dreams. You want to start a business and it's just something. I hear so many people, I've had so many conversations with people throughout the years, and this is one of the biggest things I hear is people like, oh, I wish I could have always just tried to work for myself just to see what would happen. And it makes you wonder, like, why didn't they try? Like, for me, one of my biggest things, I always wanted for, the past 10 years or so, I always wanted to make YouTube videos. I've never been a super creative guy or anything like that, but I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel. So one day back in 2018, I did. Now, was it the best videos? No, I had no idea what I was doing, but I tried it because I thought of the other scenario. I thought of, well, what would happen if I never picked up the camera and just pressed record? What would happen if I never just published the video and say, screw it, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. This is something that I want to do in my life. I would have regret if I got to my deathbed and I said, man, what would have happened if I would have just filmed the video? So you have to look at it like that sometimes. If there's something that's always in the back of your head that you think about and you're like, man, I got to try it. Or man, I got to, transition to a different industry. Whatever it is, you got to try it. You got nothing to lose, guys. Now, again, if we're in massive amounts of debt and you're talking about taking your income from here to practically zero, let's step back a little bit. But you get what I'm saying, right? That's why those first few clips lead up to this point. You get your finances right, guys, you can do whatever you want. On certain stipulations, obviously. You still got to, make the right decisions throughout, but I think you guys get what I'm saying here. So those are 3 very powerful clips that I wanted to share with you guys that have helped me think about different things and how I live my life, and hopefully it helps you guys.
President Trump is going after a Canadian judge. We have more additional info as to how these forest fires keep breaking out, and that's probably going to completely blow the socks right off of you. And Pierre Poilievre is making a very interesting comeback. We have a metric shit ton of news to take a look at in this video. I do hope you stick around for the full thing because this is going to be freaking jam-packed. The good, the bad, and the ugly. But surprisingly, quite a bit of good. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting off with this very bizarre story that a Canadian judge is among 4 on the International Criminal Court officials sanctioned by the U.S. over lawfare.
The International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. The court is accusing the 2 leaders of crimes against humanity and war crimes committed in the Gaza Strip. The implications of this warrant are expected to be limited since Israel is not a member of the court, but it could further isolate the state on the world stage. The court also issued an arrest warrant for Hamas military leader Mohammed Deif over similar offenses, although Israel claims he was killed in an airstrike.
Yeah, it looks like Israel is getting really painted as the bad guy, or specifically Benjamin Netanyahu. The Trump administration said Wednesday that it was sanctioning a Canadian judge on the International Criminal Court, along with 3 other jurists and prosecutors engaged in what the U.S. calls lawfare against Americans and Israelis. The U.S. State Department said that Kimberly Pross, a Canadian who has served on the court since 2018, was sanctioned for ruling to authorize the ICC's investigation into U.S. military personnel in Afghanistan. And Trump didn't like that, and so he is kind of clapping back. More to follow on that story, I suppose. Then you've got Nova Scotia battling out-of-control wildfire with an eye on this new hurricane called Erin. The Long Lake wildfire in Annapolis Valley remains out of control and is composed of a series of fires that cover roughly 32 square kilometers of land. That doesn't feel right. Nope. Not saying kilometers, kilometers. I don't know why. It's the first time in my life I've ever said it. I thought I'd switch it up. Nope. Kilometers of land. Meanwhile, Hurricane Erin, tracking northward between the Carolinas and Bermuda, is expected to bring in strong winds to Nova Scotia by Friday into Saturday, but no rainfall. I suspect that would actually be pretty catastrophic with those high winds and no actual rainfall. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and it's the first time I've encountered this, he told reporters, about the double threat of a wildfire and a hurricane. We're used to getting rugged weather in this part of the country, so we've dealt with high winds. But the no rainfall piece is kind of freaking scary, man. Super scary. But now we're finding out more information as to these wildfires, right? Like, how is this happening? What the heck is going on with Canada? Now, I'm going to take an out of context post, and then I'm going to provide you some context. So here's the out of context post. Table Salt said, unconfirmed reports that Ontario has suspended glyphosate spraying at the following locations: Pineland Forest, Spanish Forest, and the North Shore Forest. Keep on these assholes, call them up and let them know what you think. Now, what is glyphosate actually mean? Well, earlier in the day, Table Salt posted this photo right here. And you can see that Quebec has like no forest fires. It's kind of crazy. Yet the rest of the country seems to have these massive outbreaks in forest.
Mr. Vice President, thank you for having us here today.
Good to see you.
So you had quite an eventful morning.
We did.
Over at
Divorce isn't just a heartbreaking time, it can also be financially devastating. And it's one of the leading causes of bankruptcy in Canada. It's not just one gender losing out either, both men and women can take major hits. And here are 7 ways where divorce can hurt you financially, and at the end I'll go over ways that you can protect yourself. Let's start with the financial reality of divorce in Canada. Now, we've all heard that about half of all marriages end in divorce, but in Canada, some good news is that it's actually a bit lower. It's about 38% of marriages. Looking at the provinces, Alberta had one of the highest divorce rates between 2016 and 2020 at 9.7 divorces per 1,000 marriages, followed by Quebec and Saskatchewan. Provinces like Newfoundland and Prince Edward Island reported lower than average rates. And the possible causes, it might be tied to things like population density, economic reasons, or demographic trends. It's hard to say what exactly causes this. The average Canadian marriage lasts around 14 to 15 years on average, and the typical age at divorce is around 46 years old. And certain professions like bartenders, flight attendants, and gaming managers are linked with higher divorce rates, and I found that pretty interesting. But it's a bit of a chicken or the egg problem. It's like, do these jobs naturally attract people that are more likely to divorce, or are the pressures of the job and the time away from family the causes of divorce? It's tough to say. Then you have gray divorce, which is splitting up after the age of 50, which is also rising rapidly in Canada. And I'll go over this a lot more in detail later on, but I think it's an important topic because of how vulnerable you can be potentially at those later years of life. There's much less time to recover and more at stake in terms of pensions and savings. All right, let's talk about legal fees and court costs. So one of the first shocks of divorce is the legal bill. Even an uncontested divorce where both sides agree and split amicably can cost between $1,500 and $3,000, including things like filing fees and basic legal help. For example, in Ontario, filing alone starts at around $600 or $700. But when things get messy, costs can balloon fast. A contested divorce where there's disagreement on custody, support, or splitting assets typically runs between $20,000 to $35,000 per person, and in complex cases, it can exceed $100,000. And why is that? Well, it's because lawyers can charge between $200 to $500 or even more per hour, and every phone call, email, document review, or court appearance really adds up. And then come the extras. If forensic accountants are needed, people used to trace assets or to value businesses, they can charge upwards of $500 or more per hour. Then if you need to hire people like psychologists or custody evaluators, their reports can cost between $10,000 to $30,000 or more. And even real estate appraisals can add up quickly. The bottom line is the more you fight, the more you both lose. Mediation is often cheaper, but even that has a price tag. Now let's talk about splitting assets and debts. Now in most Canadian provinces, marital property is divided equally. That includes a family home, RSPs, pensions, investments, vehicles, and other assets acquired during the marriage. Even if only one spouse's name is on the account, the value is still usually split 50-50. This can result in a major hit to retirement savings or investment portfolios. Now, one major exception to this is the matrimonial home that you both live in is usually split 50-50 even if one spouse owned it before the marriage or if it's only in one person's name. That rule can significantly affect how property is divided. And note that in Quebec, the rules are pretty different, so if you live there, you might want to confirm how it works there. Debt works the same way. So joint debt remains joint, whether it's a mortgage, credit cards, or lines of credit. So even if your ex racks up a balance post-separation, if your name is on the account, you might still be held liable. So meet Melanie and Aaron, who after 16 years of marriage are getting divorced, unfortunately. Melanie has $500,000 in assets and $200,000 in debt, so she has $300,000 net. Aaron has $380,000 in assets and $120,000 in debt, so he has about $260,000 net. So they each subtract what they brought into the marriage. Melanie entered with $40,000 and turned it into $260,000 net family property, which we'll call NFP. And then Aaron entered with $10K and exited with $250K. So because Melanie's NFP is $10,000 higher than Aaron, she'll pay Aaron $5,000 to equalize. This is a super simplified example, but this is generally how it works. There are also hidden costs, things like real estate agent fees, legal costs of refinancing, buying furniture for a new place, or even just the general expense of running two households instead of one. And so for many Canadians, divorce can result in a 50% drop in net worth overnight. And without a solid financial plan, it could potentially take years or decades or maybe even never to recover. And if you're not tracking your net worth yet, check out my free net worth tracker for Canadians. It's a simple way to stay on top of your finances. You can download it for free. A link is in the description. Next up is child and spousal support. So child support is based on the payer's income and how much time the children spend with each parent. It follows federal or provincial guidelines. So back to Aaron and Melanie, who have two kids who live with Melanie 70% of the time. Aaron earns $90,000 per year and may owe around $1,300 per month in child support. Shared custody would lower this amount, and special expenses like daycare are usually split based on income. Spousal support depends on income differences, the length of the relationship, and whether one spouse gave up earning potential. Melanie stayed home for much of their 16-year marriage and now earns $30,000, while Aaron earns significantly more at $90,000. Now, because of the long-term marriage and the significant income gap, Aaron will likely owe ongoing spousal support as well. And if their marriage had only lasted a few years, or if they had similar income, support would be a lot lower or not owed at all. Now, final amounts often require negotiation or legal help, but the spousal support advisory guidelines provide a framework. So if you're in a situation, check out those guidelines first to get a clearer picture of what you may or may not owe. Tax implications of divorce. The CRA considers you officially separated after living apart for 90 consecutive days, which kicks off several important tax and retirement changes. RSPs and pensions can be split without immediate tax repercussions if it's done through a legal agreement. Now, spousal support is tax deductible for the payer and taxable for the recipient, while child support has no tax impact either way. You may also lose credits such as the spousal amount or eligible dependent. And post-divorce, you also will lose access to pension income splitting, spousal RSP strategies, and possibly CPP survivor benefits. OAS clawback can hit harder as a single filer, and your retirement lifestyle may suffer quite a lot, even if your combined savings remain roughly the same. And here's a pro tip, that's why it's crucial to model your pre-retirement drawdown strategy, including the timing of CPP and OAS, before deciding on splitting pensions or RSPs. Divorce can really drain your savings fast, and this is something we've helped a lot of Canadians figure out, which is a proper financial plan without hopefully sacrificing their financial future. So you can book a call with us today and try to rebuild with confidence. So mental and emotional toll. Divorce is ranked among the most stressful life events, and that emotional toll can spill into your finances. It often leads to missed work, burnout, and stalled career progression. Therapy or counseling can cost anywhere from $100 to $300 per session, and many people need it weekly during high conflict periods. Stress can also greatly affect your physical health, potentially raising some long-term healthcare costs as well. And on top of that, legal disputes, housing changes, and co-parenting stress can really cloud your judgment and delay financial decisions that should be made with clarity. And here is a pro tip: the biggest financial mistakes often happen under great emotional pressure. So getting mental health support during this time can help you make clearer, more rational decisions, especially during legal and financial negotiations. So I highly recommend seeking out either professional help or contacting your loved ones and trying to get a solid social support network in place. Now let's talk about the special risks of gray divorce. So gray divorce, which is splitting up after say 50 or 55, comes with some unique financial risks. There's less time to rebuild retirement savings, yet those same savings now have to stretch across 2 lives. So for gray divorce costs, I found this stat pretty shocking. For gray divorce, women over 50 who have a divorce see a 45% income drop versus men's 21%. Older women are also less likely to remarry or repartner, which can make recovery even harder. Things like downsizing, delaying retirement, or cutting back on your lifestyle now becomes much more likely. Pensions and CPP may need to also be split, and one partner might owe indefinite spousal support. Emotionally, the idea of starting over later in life can be overwhelming, especially after decades of shared finances. Some older divorcees also end up relying on adult children for support. So if you're approaching retirement and just got a divorce, you must make sure your financial plan protects your long-term stability. So how can you protect yourself financially from a divorce? Now, while divorce can be financially devastating, early actions can help to soften the blow. First, try your best to avoid going straight to court. Litigation is expensive and slow. Try mediation or a collaborative divorce instead. Hire a lawyer and a financial advisor who understands family law and divorce planning, and ask them to review your entire situation, from pensions to future tax impact. Now, immediately separate your finances as well. Open your own bank account, remove your name from joint credit cards, and track all shared expenses in writing. You also want to freeze your joint lines of credit to prevent overspending. Remember to update your will, power of attorney, life insurance, and beneficiaries for things like your TFSA, RSPs. It's really easy to forget this and leave unintended inheritances. Then you'll want to build a new post-divorce budget, especially if you'll be supporting children or living on one income. Set aside at least 3 to 6 months of emergency savings, and if you're not yet married, really consider a cohabitation or prenuptial agreement. It's much easier to agree on fair terms before conflict begins. And divorce can derail your finances, but with smart strategies and a clear plan, you can come out okay. And here at Blueprint Financial, we combine deep expertise with a friendly approach to guide you through this tough time with things like asset splits, taxes, and rebuilding. Visit our website to explore more and to book a consultation. And if this helped, hit like and subscribe. Then YouTube's picked up another video it thinks you'll find helpful, so go ahead and check that out.
Depending what your beliefs are and where you stand, either politically or just your outlook on life, Canada is either in a very hopeful state now that Pierre Poilievre has, been resurrected and has his job back and will make his very big comeback to the House of Canada, or Canada is doomed. And we cover a lot in this video. We're going to be taking a look at the fact that Ukraine is kind of demanding more from Canada. Like, we have to pay more and do more to help them, which is not surprising, but it is quite disappointing. Also, the Air Canada strike has come to a tentative end, and it seems like unpaid labor will now be paid, so that's good. Also, Pierre Poilievre, his resurrection came at a cost, and it came at the cost of potentially Alberta separatism because, well, he is the leader of the opposition and he does run in Alberta. And it seems like, well, he won't even be talking about that in Ottawa, which is kind of making people choose between him or separation, independence, or the independent state of or Republic of Alberta. So yeah, there's a lot to take a look at in this video, and I do hope you stick around for the full thing. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. We're just gonna jump right into it because I don't want to waste a moment on this. Here you go. Ukraine is hopeful that Canada will actively be a part of future security guarantee. Why wouldn't they? Yeah, just rely on, little old Canada to fix things. Come on, man. Ukraine would like to see Canada actively participating in future security guarantees as part of a long-term peace deal to end the Russian war. A top diplomat said on Tuesday as allies began discussing what such a plan could look like. Also, what does that even mean, Canada to be a part of guaranteeing Ukraine's security? Like, what the heck can Canada actually do? I understand that we've already given them, sent them, loaned them, whatever the heck it is, $20 billion worth of either cold hard cash or tanks, beans, bullets, ammo, all that stuff. But we're not a very big country. In fact, we don't really have a whole lot to give. In fact, we have nothing to give because we are very much in debt and our economy is suffering. When's the last time you looked at house prices? When's the last time you looked at the steady increase of wages? Oh yeah, wait, that doesn't exist in this country. When's the last time you looked at the cost of blueberries or apples or even eggs from today and compared receipts to 2019? I don't understand how our government can possibly think that helping other countries with their problems, it sucks you're at war. Sorry, we're here for you. Like, two hands. Hey, we can help you. But sending more stuff and helping them with that is just not something that I can get behind. And that's unfortunately something that all political parties in Canada do support. And make with that what you will, but I don't think that we should be supporting Ukraine, not to the extent that we are. Peacekeeping, send a few hundred troops, but enough with the cold hard cash and our actual bullets and tanks and things like that. We kind of need that. We kind of do, because you never know what's going to happen. But earlier today on Tuesday, Prime Minister Carney joined a virtual meeting to discuss possible steps for securing a peace deal in Ukraine with European and other international leaders, including those who participated in Washington, D.C. with the peace talks between Zelensky, Trump, and all the European head figures. Prime Minister affirmed Canada's steadfast commitment to supporting these efforts, reinforced by further diplomatic engagements, continued military and economic pressure on Russia to end its aggression, and close coordination with Zelensky on the development of robust. How can anybody possibly in Canada support that? Dude, go downtown. Just go wherever you live, go downtown, or go downtown to the closest kind of larger, medium to large town or city that you live by, and just go downtown and see all of the crackheads, all of the drug addicts, all of the homeless people, all of the crime, all the businesses that board up. Shouldn't we be worried about that instead of sending money to Gaza or even to Ukraine? Or am I crazy for thinking that we should be focusing on ourselves first? That's kind of what Canada First is, yet the right, the left in this country think that, no, we should be sending more stuff to other people. And that's kind of why I've given up just a little bit of hope on this country and would kind of be okay with becoming the 51st state, but that's a story for another day. Let's now take a look at what's going on with Air Canada and the strike, because it has come to an end.
We're so happy that our flight attendants are going to get the industry-leading contract for Canadian flight attendants that they deserve. And we're incredibly happy that they're going to get the chance to have their vote heard and vote on the agreement. We're going to get the planes back in the sky. We're going to get our customers moving. And as a management team, if I may say, we know that we need to rebuild the trust and confidence of our customers and our 10,000 flight attendants.
Air Canada says flights will gradually return beginning this evening, while CUPE has advised its members to fully cooperate with resuming operations. The airline says it could still take 7 to 10 days to return to full regular service. Here to talk about the resolution of that strike is Siobhan Vipond. She's the Executive Vice President of the Canadian Labour Congress. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
What is your reaction to the news of a tentative deal? How significant is that?
It's significant. It's also good news. This is the purpose of negotiations. This is what unions are pushing for. Workers said what needed to happen, and they did it at the table as they should have been. And that's the win that we're seeing today.
Yeah. So when you say they did at the table, it's it wasn't because of arbitration in terms of binding arbitration. But CUPE did say today that, as I mentioned, unpaid labor is over for flight attendants, even though we don't have details of that. And Air Canada is saying that to CBC News today that it's an industry-leading deal on the table in terms of the ground work compensation. I don't know whether you know anything about the details of the deal. Can you tell us anything that you might have heard, or what might we expect to see in the deal that will be taken to members for ratification?
Yeah, I mean, the big one is and what we've been hearing about is that unpaid work won't fly, right? And so that's what's happened, is they are happy with the tentative deal and I think bringing it to the members, because it does undo what I think most people are appalled for, right? Like, it was like, what do you mean you're not getting paid? Like, what do you mean, like, we have to move? And especially in these days of planes sitting in tarmacs for a long time or sitting at the gate for a long time, it's like, and you're not getting paid. Like, that is the most basic of what needs to happen. So we know that they've thrown that on the head, and they feel proud that they have gotten to a negotiated deal that they'll be able to present to their members. And so once we see what once the members have their say, then we will know exactly what those details are. But I think it is a good day when, unions, their members come together, they push back to make sure that they're getting a deal that's good for the job and good for them.
Okay, so it was 9 months of talks, many of those months stalled talks, 9 hours overnight into the wee hours. I know you weren't in the room, or I don't think you were in the room, no. We did see a statement from the Canadian Labour Congress earlier today saying essentially that you believe that what the pivotal catalyst was the CUPE being willing to defy the back to work order. Why do you feel that was the impetus for actually getting a deal?
Well, like, introducing 107 was an overstep by Carney and the government, because they were interfering in the process of negotiations. So once that happened, they needed to back away, because the idea of going on strike is to put pressure on. But we heard from the CEO of Air Canada, they felt no pressure, because they were just going to make a phone call and get 107, and then they thought then it's just going to be done. So their goal wasn't actually to negotiate a deal. But then once those workers stood up and said, actually, no, we are going to take our right to strike, we're going to do it, and we're going to take our labor away, which is the power of workers, then guess what ends up happening is you have to go to the table, you have to find a solution, and the solution is a deal. So yeah, pressure, it happened, but that is the power of the negotiating table. And whenever, government.
Who's verifying these Class 1 licenses in Canada and the U.S.? Huh. Are you supposed to do... When I see this, you're not supposed to... Are you supposed to do this? You can do... I don't think you're supposed to do this. What is this? Yeah, bro, this guy's playing Grand Theft Auto. Like, what's going on with this? Somebody is saying it in chat, highly illegal. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm inclined to agree. This seems like a big problem, guys. I'll tell you that. And when server transfers open in ARC completely changed the game, well, I don't know about that. I mean, I played the game a little bit, but I just could not get into it, man. I just could not, for any reason, enjoy that game at all. But anyway, so... yeah, basically, they did arrest the guy. They are going to arrest him, and I think this is a good thing. Obviously, they took the license away from the company, I think, that hired him, like their business license, which, I mean, again, that's a good thing, but it doesn't really do a whole lot. Let's see here. Oh, here it is. Yeah, here's the video right here. The illegal truck driver who killed 3 people in Florida has just been taken into custody in California and was loaded into a plane sent by Florida. So basically, bro, they rounded this motherfucker up, man. They got him, and I don't know what's going to happen to him now, but I bet it's not good. Let's go ahead. Let's watch it. Here we go. So this literally, it just happened, I guess, a half hour ago.
The Singh actually being led by Florida state authorities onto the plane there. The Singh actually being led by Florida state authorities onto the plane there. It looks like he's in shackles as he's being taken back onto the plane. What exactly, Senator, would your legislation do
Gotcha,
pertaining to
bitch.
this and other potential similar cases in the future?
Well, look, there's already a basic requirement of English proficiency that some of these blue states, these sanctuary states, are just ignoring in issuing commercial driver's
No, they need to do something like this federally immediately. Like, they need to pass, like, an executive order or some shit that says, like, if you are a, like, fucking interstate truck driver, you have to pass an English literacy test right now. Like, I mean, that's it. You know, like, that's really the problem. Because, like, if they want to have a bunch of retards that can't read in California, like, I mean, that sounds like a personal problem to me. But, and also, that's not good either. But, you know, I think that if you're talking about, you know, like, multi-state lines, I mean, yeah, obviously they need to have a degree of quality control for this. How is it even a question? So, yeah, it's insane. You should learn how to English to get any job, learn how to do English to get any job. I don't know how a person gets into America without speaking English. I mean, it's the national language, and by the way, I know that up until recently it wasn't. It always has been. Everybody knows it. Every presidential address is in English. English is the national language, and it always has been. So the fact is that anybody who's not speaking English shouldn't fucking be here. Like, I don't know how this is even a question. How is this even a conversation? What the hell are we doing?
license to truckers.
Yes. Oh my God.
Two things. Number one, these states like Washington and California that want to keep issuing commercial driver's licenses need to show that they are complying with that basic requirement. That the people that they're putting on these roads that are going into other states can actually read the signs.
Yeah, imagine expecting somebody who drives a truck that could kill people to be able to read traffic signs. I mean, I don't know, guys. That seems a little bit it sounds a little bit racist to me. Geez, guys. Like, yeah, it sounds kind of bad. Wow. How many families need to die for this? This is so horrible. Well, I don't understand. And I think that, again, like, it's just in general, like, anti-American, Western racism, or like a sense of, like, guilt where it's like, oh, well, we can't force people to learn English. Like, absolutely you can. 100% you can. It's not even a question. I mean, this isn't like a, a restaurant. This is a life and death situation, very clearly, right? And so that's where we're at.
Understand English and be able to communicate with motor carriers.
So I disagree. My mom's Puerto Rican. She does not speak English. Puerto Ricans are legal and they're not obligated to speak English. I'm on your side with a lot of things, but not that part, man. Wow, okay, so there's like 1% of Puerto Ricans that don't speak English, so we should just let... And also, like, they automatically became U.S. citizens, right? Because Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. So that's like a very different thing than what I'm talking about, right? I mean, you clearly... Like, what I'm saying is that people should... If somebody is coming into the United States and they can't speak English, I think that should be an automatic decline. Should be an insta decline if you're not proficient in English. I don't even see how anybody can argue against this. It seems like the most obvious common sense opinion, but for some reason it eludes everybody.
Safety inspectors.
That's a gotcha. Yeah, of course.
And instructions for driving, and they need to be permanent and lawful residents of the United
And also, by the way, if your mom drives a fucking semi truck, she better learn. Like, I got no problem. She wants to sit at home and do whatever the fuck. Yeah, fine. Don't speak English. It's okay. You're a U.S. territory. It is what it is. But, like, if you're going to go around driving a fucking truck, you better learn how to read the goddamn signs. I mean, what are we even doing here, guys? Come on. What is this? Talking about CDL? Yeah.
Basic minimum, and that way you don't have other states that are following the law. As you know, Florida is a law and order state. We comply with the laws because we know that that ensures the safety of our citizens.
Yeah, it's obvious.
We shouldn't fall victim to or be penalized by other states that don't do the same.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, like, again, it's just what an unforced error. What a massive. And in my opinion, I think that from everything that I know about the government, I don't think this had anything to do with liberal policy. I mean, maybe at the top it did. I think this just had to do with another person that works at the government who doesn't give a fuck about their job. They don't care about how things go, and they're just doing whatever the hell they want, right? I think that's really what's going on here more than anything. So yeah, and is driving that hard? Yes, apparently it is. And it was absolutely liberal policy? Maybe, right? I don't know. Is this kind of stuff another reason why people push for autonomous self-driving cars? I mean, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think that truck driving is that job is on a its days are numbered, basically, right? I think that very clearly you are going to see truck drivers losing their jobs. Whether this is sooner or later, it's hard really to say, but I do think it's going to happen. The reason why is because it's safer and better for everyone if you could have an autonomous driving car. Because another thing that people might not consider is that even if these truck drivers are, totally, they can speak English, they're born in America, there's like no native or no, a non-native element to this. Like a lot of truck drivers drive for a really long time, and there's a level of human fatigue that happens with this. And so that's why they have like beds at the back of their truck. So I would say that probably a lot of drivers are probably sleep deprived at some point or another, if not most of the time. And because of that, everyone is, but locally. Yeah, exactly. Right. And so because they're sleep deprived and this is a job that they can only do theoretically for 8 to 12 hours a day, 15 at the best. And that's not a good thing either. It would be better for everybody if you had autonomous driving cars that could drive at 100% efficiency 24 hours a day. Like this would just simply be an improvement for the human race. It's not something that would be good for truck drivers. It's not something that would be good for companies. It's something that would be good for everybody. And I think that a lot of the, reluctance from AI actually comes from people afraid of losing their jobs. That's primarily where it's coming from. It's not coming from people that are actually, people that are against AI fundamentally, because I don't see how I don't see how an ethical person cannot come to this conclusion, right? I mean, in my opinion, I think it's inevitable. So yeah, you need infrastructure for that, designed for AI, not human drivers. Well, I don't think that's even really true, because we already have AI. So like based off of that logic, how do we have self-driving taxis now? How many Waymo and Tesla auto-driving car accidents do we have? Because like I feel like if there was a Tesla auto-driving car and it had an accident, everybody on the news would be hearing about this forever. And I'm sure it's happened before, right? I mean, it's definitely happened. But like, if I compare, let me see here, rate of self-driving cars versus real drivers, rate of accidents. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and look at this. This is obviously AI, so like it might not be accurate, but let's go ahead and find out. 9 million drivers. Okay. With Waymos, 4 million. Okay, so human drivers have accident rate of about 4 to 4.5 per million miles driven. So it's about 9 crashes per miles driven. Recent studies, Waymo's improvement is 2.1 miles driven. Okay, so it's 8.5. So apparently Waymo, according to this, right? Waymo is a caveat. Yeah, and this is also, AVs tend to have fewer severe crashes but struggle in specific scenarios. Yeah, I mean, like, well, let me actually ask, this is a better question. How many fatalities have happened because of a self-driving car? Right? Because, like, I mean, I think it's a big difference. You're talking about, like, an accident. Like, there's a fender bender, and then there's people that are getting killed. So only one fatality has been directly attributed to a fully autonomous vehicle. So this seems very, very unlikely, right? I mean, there's literally a list of them, and each one is labeled by the year, right? So that very clearly this doesn't happen a lot, and it's extremely fucking minor. And yeah, how many? You want to get the rash on your face from? No, I don't actually. I think I was washing my face yesterday. I took a shower yesterday, if you can believe that. Yes, I know. And I took a shower yesterday, and maybe it's from that. It's lying to you? Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I don't think that it necessarily is. I mean, you can just look at the web pages and see what happens. Self-driving car statistics. I mean, you can look through all of this. 393 crashes. I mean, and this is from May of 2022. I mean, look at how many crashes happen with people all the time, right? It happens constantly. Now, obviously, you'd have to account for like per capita and how many mistakes happen. But in a general sense, no, I feel like this is a very, very obvious thing. Allergic to soap, yes, clearly. But fully autonomous vehicles are also deployed in places like Arizona where driving conditions are consistent and easy to navigate. Yes, but I would argue that most highways are probably one of the easiest and most consistent driving navigation areas anywhere. You simply go in a very long line, one direction. Like you go on I-35. That's one of my favorite things about going on the highway, is that I can go on the highway and I just turn my fucking brain off. I don't have to think. I just like, okay, I have to go this way for 22 miles. Great. All right. Let's fucking just totally disconnect. And that's it. I bet the human driver crash is actually higher because a lot of people not reporting too. Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know. But anyway, so that's generally the way that I see it more than anything. And this is as bad as it ever will be. And I think that's another thing too, is that if you look at this here and you look at the amount of it, it's obviously going to get better. Waymo's 56 million miles driven showed no fatalities, with an 80 to 90% reduction in certain accident types compared to human drivers. So here we go right now. And so this is inevitable. So going back to the truck driver thing, what's my point with this is that even if truck drivers, every single one of them spoke perfect English, they all had an English degree, this problem would still be something that's worth solving, right? And so that's generally what I was saying, and that's what I think overall. Let me go back. I'll look at a few more of these and take a look at it. Oh, and apparently, I don't know really if this how recent this one is, but it did happen again somehow. Here we go.
Which is great. You okay? For sure. Yeah. I was coming this way, and I see the whole thing. It's crazy.
Man. Hard to know where this is. I don't know if this is in the U.S. or not, but I think this is obviously a very big problem, and this is the governor of Florida talking about it. Here we go.
Ron DeSantis of Florida is talking about the illegal immigrant truck driver who had the driver's license from California that killed 3 people in Florida. Let's listen in.
He will arrive in Florida today.
Ooh, they got him.
He will get the book thrown at him very shortly after that, I can guarantee you. So,
I don't even, like, the guy that did it is obviously a dumb piece of shit. Yeah, okay. But, like, what about the people that hired him? What about the people that employed him? What about the people that gave him the license? What about the people that approved the process that made the license that he got possible? Right, like, you've really got to look at those people, and that's really where you've got to look at the fault, right? You've got to look at, like, that's where you've got the problem, obviously, right? Preach, yeah. I mean, that's really where we're worried about.
Stay tuned. You're going to be able to hear more for that. But how ridiculous is it that somebody would get a commercial driver's license who doesn't understand the language of this country, doesn't understand road signs, doesn't understand these things? And the feds, when they had him detained a couple days ago, they did an English test, and he failed abysmally, not even close. Like, not only like, a little English, no, he was terrible. And yet he's getting these commercial licenses from these sanctuary states. And, in the U.S., we all kind of have our opportunities to run our states the way we want. We've chosen to be the free state of Florida.
Well, that's not even no. Because if you're driving federally, this is such an obvious thing. I mean, if you're doing something that crosses state lines, then states' rights are not paramount anymore. There's a reason why you have federal government and state government. And it's so fucking obvious. Things that are inside of that state and stay inside of that state are the state government, generally, not always, but generally. And things that are not are the federal government. We all know this. Everybody, it's so obvious.
I think most people here appreciate that. California, Washington State, they're choosing much different pathways. And I think it's been very destructive to the people there. That's why people have fled those states. But, their policies and their recklessness spills over to other states in this country. And it's spilled over, in this case, to the state of Florida. So the 3 Floridians are dead, in part because of the recklessness that we see out on the left coast. And, I think it needs to stop. But ultimately, it's going to require Congress to get off its rump and actually do something about this.
Exactly, yeah. They need to solve the problem systematically. Because the system that created this person will create another person like this. So getting mad at the person is solving the symptom and not the disease.
Defund sanctuary states. Defund sanctuary cities. Rein in the excesses that we've seen in these states time and time again, and I hope that happens, because we cannot just sit and allow these tragedies to occur on and on and on. It's got to stop. We're here today.
It's ridiculous. This is such a ridiculous, unforced error that nobody should have ever even seen.
To talk about our support for rural communities in Florida. And our state.
Right, so that was Governor Ron DeSantis talking about how this illegal immigrant who killed 3 people in that accident, he's going to be extradited from California to Florida today. And Governor Ron DeSantis saying that he is going to have the book thrown at him.
Yeah, they're going to take it very seriously, obviously. And basically, again, just to recap, an illegal immigrant who can't speak English, who didn't understand the road signs, somehow gets these commercial driver's licenses in California, Washington, kills 3 people.
This is so fucking retarded. How is this even real? This is crazy.
Florida. And as you heard Governor say there, when he gets here to Florida later today, as you mentioned, we are throwing the book at him.
Yeah. So he will said that there will be more to come, and we will follow that as it happens. In the meantime, there's this.
Thank God. Thank God. And again, they need to fix the system that creates guys like this. That's really how you solve this problem. And he'll probably get charged. He'll probably get manslaughter. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the odds are the guy's going to spend a lot of time in jail, and that's really what matters the most, right? I mean, individual specific things, it's really kind of hard to say. This is, yeah. Can't read the sign. What? What? Huh? CDL gameplay? Yeah, I guess so, guys. Looks about right. Yeah. Well, there it is, right? That's where we're at. And yeah, I missed a turn. Yeah. If you could only read the stop sign, man. But yes, anyway, so that's pretty much what's happened, and I'm not really that surprised by this, but yeah, anyway, so this is, and I think this is one of the big reasons why they let this happen. Listen to this.
And I know there's different issues involving the census even apart from them, but the census that was done, and it started under Trump administration, but it was processed and the results were promulgated under Biden.
Yeah.
Just with that, if we just take that and applied it properly, Florida would have at least one more seat. That's just
It's crazy that they count illegals in the census. Like, I mean, how can you have such a blatant, obvious fucking exploit? Like, I mean, this is, like, what are we even doing here? What is this?
So the Attorney General has written a letter to the Census Bureau, the Commerce Department, copying the White House, saying, please fix this remuneration and award Florida what we're entitled to, an extra seat in Congress. And if we get that, that's not only an extra seat in the House of Representatives, we have 28 now, that would also mean an additional vote in the Electoral College when it comes to presidential elections.
Jesus.
And so we should have had that in 2024, and 22 for Congress, 24 for both Congress and the Electoral College. And we want this fixed now. We think it's really something that's important. So
no, it's not even a question. I mean, like, why the fuck would you count an illegal alien in the census for the representation of the government? It doesn't even make sense. It's so stupid. And so, yeah, it was a brain rot or cancer society. Well, I think this is a lot simpler, right? I mean, it is. It's a lot simpler than that. They want to bring in illegals because it gives them more power, right? I mean, you don't need to there doesn't need to be a benevolent ideology for this. It just simply has to be the interests of these people. That's it. It makes perfect sense if you're gaming the system. Absolutely it does. And I think that's clearly what's happening here, right? So piracy is coming back. I think the reason why this is happening is the old quote from Gavin. Piracy.
Hey, this is Max from UNFTR for the Midas Touch Network, and if it's okay with the Midas Mighty, I'd like to get a little macro today. There's not a lot that makes sense about this administration or this economy if you believe that the government exists to help people. And I think economists generally do a pretty terrible job explaining why this is. So today I want to talk about why things like the stock market are still cranking, even though you might feel like your life is falling apart. How some people seem to keep getting ahead while working less, while you work more to fall behind. And why the Trump administration just doesn't care. I also want to explain exactly how I think Trump's economy is going to fall apart. See, I think most people assume that we're due for something like 08 and 09, or the quick COVID depression, a catastrophic explosion like this. But I actually think that this is more accurate. And to help us settle in, I thought it would be a treat to walk through the magic portal and visit the parallel universe known as Fox Business News.
But there's, next year I think growth is going to be something close to 3%. And this year I have it at 1.5%. So I think there's a lot that's going to be happening next year that's exciting on taxes and AI that's going to make it so better days ahead.
You gotta love Kudlow at this point in his career, right? So the guy he's interviewing here is Mark Summerlin, the deputy director at the NEC, who happens to be in the running for Fed chair. And I love the framing here. He's so bullish on next year. Things are okay now, but just you wait. Next year is going to be great because of taxes and AI. So let me translate that because it sets up our discussion today perfectly. The extended tax cuts will take effect, so wealthy people and corporations are going to pay even less in taxes next year, and AI is coming along swell, so corporations should be able to boost those profits by laying off a ton of people. Better days ahead indeed. Just not for you. This Fox News alternate universe doesn't actually exist through a magic portal. This is the reality for millions of Americans who occupy the upper tax brackets and the upper echelons of society. As for the hundreds of millions that don't, this is also your reality. So in the spirit of level setting, we're going to adhere to the classic adage of following the money to explain why someone like Summerlin, along with the 1% in this country, can say with total confidence that the economy is going to be great. For several decades, our economy has been splitting in two in terms of real dollars and where they accumulate. And now you've seen variations of this chart before, but let's start with hard data from the government before the Trump administration fires the rest of the statisticians. This is the distribution of wealth from the Reagan era forward. This is when the money supply really began to grow, as we began to rely on deficit spending to build the military under Reagan. You can see how tightly correlated the distribution of wealth is at the beginning of the chart. The bottom line represents the total assets held by the bottom 50% of the country. The solid blue line represents the wealth held by the top 1%. Fairly easy to see that the bottom half of the country hasn't moved relative to the changes in the top half, and the top 1% has pulled away from the rest of the pack. The lines I want you to focus on, however, are the dotted lines above. These represent the assets held by the 50th to 90th percentile and the 90th to 99th percentile, respectively. We already know how absurd it is that 1% of the population has 5 times the wealth of the bottom half. But it's also amazing to see that that top 1% has as much wealth as the top 50%. Clearly, we have a billionaire problem because there's no rational explanation as to why a society would allow so few people to possess this much wealth. But we're focused on Trump's economic policy today, so that's why those top 2 lines matter. Because the top 10% of the country is responsible for 50% of consumer spending, and we are a consumer-driven economy, those are the lines that they're trying to protect. And if we're being intellectually honest, pretty much every administration since Reagan has existed to service this layer. They vote, they own assets, they buy elections, they spend money in the real economy. They can mask cracks in the system when money is flowing and cheap. From Reagan until the global financial crisis, a combination of deregulation, tax cuts and corporate welfare allowed that top layer of the population to move forward while the bottom half languished. But the real acceleration didn't occur until the dot-com bubble and the global financial crisis, when the money printing machines went into overdrive. So let's follow the money to see where it all wound up. Money doesn't grow on trees, and I have dutifully repeated this to my children, who I assume will repeat it to their children as well. It's the Federal Reserve who decides how much money goes into circulation, and the Treasury auctions it off. That's U.S. debt. And what's important to know about debt is that one person's debt is another one's asset. So if you loan me $100, then my debt to you is your asset. It's no different for the U.S. government. When we sell these treasuries into the world, it's with interest that we owe to the people who purchase it. Our debt, their asset. Now, we buy some of it ourselves to hold in the Federal Reserve for a rainy day, but the rest is sold to the world. Central banks from other nations, sovereign wealth funds, pension funds, corporations, banks, money managers, hedge funds, mutual funds, they all purchase our dollars and then put them to work in the economy. Now, we have to pay interest on these purchases, so the goal is to put enough of it to work in the real economy here in the United States that it comes back to the government to offset the cost of delivering services like Medicare and unemployment insurance, infrastructure spending, and more. The rest of it goes into our pockets and circulates from one pocket to another. And for the past 80 years, the U.S. government has been the biggest economic engine of the world through this process. As an individual living in this country, you have to hope that enough of these dollars make it into your pocket, and the cost of living increases along the way are less than the increase in value in these assets. That way you can live comfortably and someday retire. Now that's the game that we play in a capitalist system. As long as the value of your stuff goes up more than the cost to hold on to it, you can get ahead. But there's another aspect of capitalism that is a feature, not a bug. This system is designed to break every 7 to 10 years. This isn't a critique, it is a statement of fact. Capitalism is predicated on boom and bust cycles. In the early growth stages of an economic cycle, money is spent on raw materials. Inflation is typically low, and employment is tighter because the engine is just starting to crank. But as production increases and goods come online, we need service people and managers and workers all up and down the line to manage it all. Employment goes up during these periods, and prices go higher as the economy heats up. Now, at some point, the balance tips over, and we have too much production, so prices fall and jobs disappear. Boom and bust. Again, all pretty straightforward. The bust is a feature, not a bug. Now let's look again at the wealth distribution chart. The 3 periods of acceleration of wealth are after the busts of the dot-com bubble, the GFC, and COVID. In the few years after each crisis, we went into money printing mode to make sure there was enough in circulation to manage the busts. And we can talk about the reasons that these bust cycles were more dramatic than prior periods another day. What matters today is the economic policy response at every stage of the boom and bust cycle. After the Great Depression, policymakers shifted toward intervention. So when things were bad, we made a policy choice to support people who lost their jobs, or to subsidize manufacturing to restart cycles. When things got too hot and inflation took hold, the government would intervene to cool things with tools like rising interest rates, increasing regulations, or cutting back on the amount of money in circulation. These measures aren't to curb capitalism. In fact, they're capitalist policy responses designed to limit the highs and the lows, to build ceilings and floors. And for a while, it worked. Beginning in the Reagan years, we decided, though, as a nation that we were going to push that ceiling higher by cutting taxes, loosening regulations, and increasing the money supply by going into debt. The Clinton administration raised the ceiling even more by loosening regulations and pushed the floor down by eliminating entitlements and punishing the poor. But it also cut back on the money supply. Now, George W. pushed the ceiling higher by dramatically cutting taxes and directly subsidizing corporations involved in building the surveillance state and the war machine. And Obama left that ceiling where it was with respect to taxes, but they tightened regulations just to a degree and reinforced the floor, but they didn't raise it. So from Obama through Trump 1.0, we forgot to turn off the money hose, and interest rates were kept really low, so the top half of the country started to accumulate a lot of cash. And this is where I want to spend some time to explain what happens next. But first, let's talk about briefly what happened under Biden. You can see here that the top half of the country kept accelerating through the Biden years. In fact, Biden's one term has the steepest wealth accumulation curve for both the top half and the bottom of the country. And it was the fastest and most dramatic wealth accumulation period since the 1960s. But the difference for the bottom half versus the top half was inflation. At the end of the first Trump term and during the post-COVID Biden years, we sent a historic amount of cash through the system, and everyone got a taste. The problem for the bottom half is that it was almost immediately subsumed by inflation. For every dollar going into the pockets of Americans, it seemed like $1.10 was leaving. Now that's okay for the top of the spectrum, where they're making $1.50 off of their investments, but at the bottom, when you just have that dollar going in, it meant that they were falling behind and losing savings. And this went on for like 2 straight years. So even though asset and wealth measures increased in the absolute terms, meaning money in the bank, the bottom half of the country never actually felt it. And when Trump acknowledged it and Harris didn't during the campaign, it was enough to put this guy back into the Oval. I offer this for 2 reasons. The first is, like I said, I think economists have a way of overcomplicating things. But the second reason is to illustrate that the cycles are what they are. It's our response to it where the choice lies. Where do you want the ceiling to be, and where do you want to set the floor? So when dollars flow to the people at the top, there's a diminishing return. I mean, at some point, they just stop spending them in the real economy and begin saving them. But at the bottom half, there's no diminishing return. Every dollar that goes to the bottom half circulates right back into the real economy. That's why when you want to recover from a bust period of a cycle, the smart money goes to support the end at the bottom, the floor. And if you agree with this, and it makes sense, congratulations. You too are a Keynesian. So now we can unpack the 3 promises that I made earlier. Why the market keeps going up even though you're falling behind, why you're working more for less and the people at the top are working less and making more, and why this administration doesn't care what happens to the bottom half of the country. If you've seen a few of my Midas videos, you know that one of the things that I like to watch is something called tick data from the Treasury. Tick measures the amount of money either entering or leaving our economy, and it tells us who's investing in it or taking it out. So real quick, let's look at just the most recent release as of June. After the disastrous April outflow, when it looked like the world was selling off American assets, we rebounded significantly. This shows the net inflow of dollars into the United States from private foreign sources. So we're talking corporations, investment banks, individual investors, and so on. And you can see that in June, almost all of the inflows went to corporations in the form of corporate debt and equities. So now let's take a look at the net inflows from official sources, meaning foreign central banks and governments. Central banks actually showed a net outflow of U.S. treasuries, but a net inflow overall because, once again, the U.S. stock market was the biggest beneficiary of foreign investments. Now, in May, the numbers were skewed because the world came surging back into U.S. assets, including treasuries, because Taco Trump punted on most of the tariffs, but the yields remained elevated, which means that investors got a premium for U.S. debt. So this is what I mean by following the money. The U.S. will continue to find buyers for our treasuries even if we have to do it ourselves. And this will increase the deficit because the shaky foundation of the economy means that investors will continue to ask for a premium to purchase our debt. But the one place that continues to see massive inflows from both foreign and domestic sources is the U.S. stock market. So even though PE ratios are the highest they've ever been, which means that the prices of stocks don't warrant the amount of money going into them, the market goes up. That's because everyone knows it's the one part of the economy that the U.S. government won't allow to fail. Under Bush, it was TARP. Under Obama, quantitative easing. Under Trump, it was tax cuts and loans that didn't require payback. Under Biden, more QE and direct investments. Money goes to money, and we never pull it back. The ceiling just keeps getting higher and higher. Now let's go back to what Summerlin was saying about his optimism for the future because of taxes and AI. So let's actually start with AI. And I have to zag a little bit here to contextualize it fully, but it's just a brief tangent. Bear with me. One of the reasons the Trump administration is cracking down so hard on immigration is to limit the labor pool. So over the past couple of decades, the primary driver of the labor market has actually been the immigrant population. Because we pour so much money into the economy, it continues to grow even if it's partially artificial. And many of the support jobs at the low end of the economy have been fulfilled by the immigrant labor pool. Now, in a twist of irony, one of the reasons that the Biden administration was reluctant to address the migrant crisis in the early days is because low-wage immigrant workers were helping to suppress inflation, believe it or not. Because remember that as bad as inflation was in the U.S., it was way worse in other places. There were two drivers behind the inflation crisis under Biden. First, we were pouring so much money into the economy to prop it up that corporations extracted exorbitant prices from consumers that were flush with government cash. That amounted to about 35% of inflation here at home. Another third was related to the supply chain snarls, and the rest was the normal expansion cycle of inflation coming out of the COVID depression. So even though we've shown in prior Midas videos how only 62% of this population over the age of 18 is actually gainfully employed in this economy, the Trump administration is trying to keep it there by limiting the amount of immigrants at the bottom end of the labor market. In other words, they want U.S. citizens to be working those jobs on the floor of the economy. You can decide for yourself whether you like this or not, and I'm not commenting it on it one way or the other. I'm just pointing out that it is a significant part of their economic rationale, which is, of course, mixed with racism and xenophobia, but I'm just the economics guy. But if we stand back and look at Trump's economic policy, it's clear that they're trying to push the ceiling even higher for those in the top half of the economy and tear it away completely for those at the very top. So stripping away all regulations by eliminating entire agencies, tax cuts for individuals at the top and all corporations, and investing in AI to help corporations accelerate job cuts, that's what Summerlin's referring to. His optimism for the corporate economy comes entirely at the expense of the labor market. So now if we add inflation to the mix as a result of Trump's tariff war and punitive immigration policy, it's a recipe for disaster for the lower half of the population. So when this happens, and the market bottoms out at the end of the cycle, the question becomes, what will our policy response be? Because the only guarantee in a capitalist economy is that the bust will come. And now we know. The markets have already priced in the notion that the Federal Reserve will intervene to prop up the markets with subsidies, with low interest rates or quantitative easing or a combination thereof, because that's just what.
The modern Great Depression's here, and it's only going to get worse. Of course, it's not going to impact everybody, but the people that are impacting are people like you and me. It's people who are working class, people who are middle class, the working poor. The vast majority of Americans are actually already in a Great Depression, but you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it because it's not been validated. You wouldn't know it because the talking heads in media, the pundits, the politicians, our corporate overlords, our technocratic leaders, they're living just fine. None of the things that have been happening over the past couple of decades, but especially now, are actually impacting them. But they're impacting us. And I know that you know exactly what I'm talking about. They may not officially come out and say that this is a depression that we're in an economic contraction. No, they won't say that. But all the similarities are there between then and now. Not on the macro, but on the micro, because the lives that we live are the micro. Let's talk about the disproportionate impact of inflation and stagnant wages. This isn't something that's felt by the upper class. This isn't something that's felt by our politicians and our leaders, but this is something that's impacting us. The cost of necessities, the cost of living has been rising so much that it's outpaced the wages of pretty much all Americans, except for a select few. Things are becoming harder and harder. It's more difficult, almost impossible, to start a family now. It's almost impossible to actually gain any kind of security in your life when everyone's so focused on the next paycheck. Because the paycheck that we have now and the paycheck that we're gonna have tomorrow, it's really only enough to actually pay off our bills, to make sure that we still have a roof over our head. It is a constant battle just to maintain any kind of financial security in your life. But for most people in America, still that security isn't there. What we're seeing right now is all-time highs in consumer debt. And of course, this is something that was echoed in the Great Depression as well. But instead, on debt taken on to invest in speculation, it's people using their credit cards to put food on the table. It's people using their credit cards to pay their bills. It's people using their credit cards to maintain their lives, their families, themselves. But not everyone can actually maintain it. And that leads us to number 2, which is a scarcity in housing. It's almost impossible to actually go ahead and get a house now for the average American. In fact, most would say that it is impossible for the average American because the median household income in America is only, $80,000. But it actually go out and get a mortgage on a house takes a minimum of $120,000. If you have a family, probably more. So it's just not there. So most people are actually put in a position where they can only rent. But the fact is, rent has also raised so much that it equates to a mortgage payment, but those people can't actually get a mortgage, so they're not actually going to have any kind of equity in their lives, even though they're paying the exact same price as it would for them to have a mortgage. It's a ludicrous situation. It's a lose-lose situation for most Americans. And it's not just Americans. This is happening all over the world, but because I'm in America, we're talking about America. And instead of actually addressing these problems, instead of actually building affordable housing that can actually get people in the position where they can have some kind of security in their lives, where they can actually produce families, which would be an economic boon for America, instead we manipulate the economy to inflate asset prices, which just make the wealthy even more wealthy. While at the same time, people like you, people like me, people like your parents, your friends and family will never be able to actually have a home. And if they have a home now, because of taxes and insurance constantly going up, there's always the fear of, will I actually be able to afford my mortgage, or is the bank going to foreclose on it? Am I going to lose that? Is the bank going to go ahead and sell off my house for the $2,000 that I owe and keep the $200,000, $300,000 that they made off the sale? Because we've created a system where the lenders and banks are allowed to use predatory actions to reap all the resources from the American people. And that's not even to mention student loans, which are probably the most predatory loans in existence, which anchor American citizens, young Americans with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of student debt that they really have no chance of paying off, especially with the job market. If you have a college degree and you go ahead and get a job in your field, if that happens, usually ends up paying what? $35,000, $40,000? Not even a living wage. You have to come from wealth. You have to come from privilege in order to be able to take a job that pays $35,000, $40,000 just so you can chase your dream. Chasing your dream is a privilege in America, and it's not a privilege that most Americans actually have. Because the fact is, the systemic barriers that we now have in place in America, in the increasing cost of living and the wealth disparity that's constantly growing, and in this time where we're seeing a transfer of wealth like we've never seen in history, really, since the Gilded Age, social and economic mobility just isn't a thing anymore. A generational transfer of wealth for people who are in the middle class, the working class, and the working poor is just not something that can even be in our minds at this point, because most people are so worried about living paycheck to paycheck. They're so worried about just survival and maintaining that they actually can't move forward and plan ahead. We are stuck in the moment. We are stuck in this depression. And the longer that this depression, this new modern Great Depression that we're in, is allowed to take hold of the American psyche, to actually entrench itself in generational philosophy of middle-class Americans, the harder it will be for us to break out of it. Because a country like ours only grew great and became a first world country because The people had the freedom to plan ahead, to plan accordingly, and to develop themselves. But when you are stuck in survival, when you are stuck in the moment, you cannot develop. You enter a phase of arrested development, and that arrested development is going to become generationally transferred. Because there's no change in sight, there's no change being made, there's no plans to actually address these changes. In fact, it's only the opposite. As they cut away the social benefits, the social safety nets in America, those who are barely hanging on to any kind of security in this country are finding themselves in the most vulnerable position. And honestly, that brings us to the next point. The boom in homelessness in our country, as people cannot afford a living, as people can't afford to provide for their families, as people can't afford to maintain their familial bonds, which is one of the reasons we're seeing so many divorces, one of the reasons we're seeing so many families break apart, and the ever escalating cost of housing as well. People are just finding themselves in the street. The amount of desperation that is coming from this depression is leveling the American morale, and hundreds of millions of people in this country are finding themselves one step away from falling off of the economic cliff and being on the street. And as dangerous as it has been in the past to live on the street, even more so now as we've moved to actually criminalize the homeless, making it illegal to sleep outside, making it illegal to sleep in a tent, making it illegal to live in your car or live in your van or live in your RV, even though it's not a choice. We are being penalized and punished and kept in this depression because they need to keep us in this depression. Because the unjust nature of the system that we are now in is so evident that if people actually had the time to address it and hold those who've been perpetuating this system accountable for the grave damage that it's done to hundreds of millions of Americans, the most powerful and wealthy people in this country would find themselves on the chopping block. And I don't mean that metaphorically. We are one step away from a massive revolution in this country. And I think it's only through the hubris of the upper class and the elites in our country that they think that they are safe. Because things are going to get worse, and this depression is going to spread, and it's going to become entrenched because there's been nothing done to actually turn things around and help the American people out. There's consequences to that, right? The people can only be stretched so far before they snap. And when they snap, that's going to be hitting a lot of people's doorsteps who thought that they'd be safe inside their gated communities. It's an inevitability when you have a vast majority of people who you've essentially robbed and made them destitute and impoverished, that eventually they're going to come for you. And this isn't any kind of threat. I think this is just what history shows us. And I think the veil of illusion is really starting to slip. And it doesn't help the fact that we have things like tariffs, which are essentially a 20-30% sales tax that are hitting already over-leveraged families who now have to send their kids back to school. But because of the increase in prices, those struggling families can't even afford school supplies and can't even afford to put new clothes on their kids. It doesn't matter what they say on the news, what the macroeconomics of the situation are. It doesn't matter if they say that the stock market's rallying and it's all-time highs. It doesn't matter if they say that corporations are reaping record-breaking profits year after year. What does it matter if the vast majority of people in your country are being crushed under the wheel of the economy? What does it matter when the people are languishing in a Great Depression that no one's talking about? What does it speak to the consequences if that's continued to be ignored? As we see a more militarized government, as we see a government more willing to crack down on its own people, and its supporters voraciously supporting the abuses of enforcement. What does it say for the chances of our legislative bodies in this country actually turning things around and taking hold, or even slowing down the steep descent that the people are in? It's not good. It's not good, but I have faith. I have faith in people. Because it's people who built this country, and even though it's people's ignorance who drove us into the spot now, through our support for people who are evidently and obviously corrupt, the people who don't care anything about Americans, people who truly aren't Americans, they just belong to an economic class. But we are Americans. We are the people who make up this country, and we are in a Great Depression. And as things get worse and as things escalate and as our country gets more dangerous and as life becomes harder here, eventually they're not going to be able to be quiet about it anymore. And it's going to have to be addressed. And like I said, don't give up hope in our people. And I don't think we should either, because we're in this together, one way or another. No matter what you think politically, all that stuff goes away when we're on the breadlines together. And those people in charge, no matter who they are, whether you voted for them or whether you support them now, just be clear that they would have no problem seeing you on the breadlines, just like they would have no problem.
Hi, I'm Joe, a Canadian citizen living in Central Europe. With the price of gold reaching $3,000 US per ounce on March 17, 2025, it may surprise you to learn that as of mid-February 2016, the Bank of Canada has held exactly 0 gold in its international reserves, as in not a single bar, coin, or wafer. While many mostly minor third world states hold no gold, there is something just a little odd about seeing a country as resource-rich as Canada in the same company as Armenia, Azerbaijan, Cameroon, Oman, and Nicaragua, while states such as Malta, Uruguay, Burundi, Fiji, and Kenya can all boast holding more gold than Canada. While a handful of Western countries such as Croatia, Israel, New Zealand, North Macedonia, and Norway likewise hold 0 gold reserves, Canada's situation is so atypical that it is currently the only member of the G20 to not hold any gold reserves. Curiously, a CBC article from the Time reporting on the liquidation of the last of Canada's gold states that, at one point, the Bank of Canada held about 1,000 tons of gold, which, if it had simply kept those reserves up to the present day, would give it the 8th largest central bank reserves in the world. So how did this happen? In the first part of today's presentation, I'm going to attempt to tell the story of Canada's gold reserves from 1951 up to the present day. In addition to looking at the ebb and flow of those reserves over time, I will also overlay Canada's gold reserves over a timeline showing Canada's ruling parties, prime ministers, finance ministers, and governors of the Bank of Canada in order to look for any correlations or patterns between who occupies those positions and the liquidation of Canada's gold reserves. Next, I'll examine the theoretical reasons why a central bank would even hold gold reserves in the first place, and then scrutinize the Canadian government's stated rationale behind this policy. I'll then contrast those statements with those of central banks that are actively hoarding as much gold as possible, such as the National Bank of Poland, in order to gain a better understanding of the pros and cons of holding gold. I'll then try to determine how the Government of Canada's policy of holding 0 gold reserves could affect the nation in the future, before trying to identify who is responsible for putting Canada in this situation. I'll then conclude the presentation with some speculation on what I think is really going on with this policy. Data on the Bank of Canada's international reserves can be obtained from several sources. The first is the Bank of Canada's website, which gives weekly reporting of the value of its various reserves, expressed in millions of US dollars, from July 1999 to present, while monthly figures for January 1951 to December 1999 are available from StatsCan. However, the primary source of data for this presentation will be the International Monetary Fund's International Liquidity Database, which not only gives the value of gold reserves in millions of US dollars, but also reports on the physical amount of gold held in millions of fine troy ounces. As a reminder, 1 fine troy ounce equals about 31.1 grams, but for convenience sake, I will convert these figures into metric tons throughout the presentation. This data on physical holdings is particularly useful as the methodology for calculating the value of gold reserves in millions of US dollars changes at several points, as will be discussed, and so the figures for the actual physical amounts of gold held allows us to see precisely what was happening with the gold reserves at various times. I will also compare the Bank of Canada's reported gold reserves alongside the average monthly price of gold taken from the website macrotrends.net in order to see if there is any correlation between fluctuations in gold reserves and the market price of gold. Now on to the presentation. In January 1951, Canada was just over 2 years into the Liberal government of Prime Minister Louis St. Laurent, whose finance minister at the time was Douglas Abbott. Meanwhile, the Bank of Canada was under the leadership of Graham Towers, Governor of the Bank of Canada since its inception in 1934, and who, in 1951, was in the middle of his third and final term. In July 1954, Finance Minister Abbott was replaced by Walter Harris, while in January 1955, Governor Towers was replaced by James Coyne. During the period under Governor Towers and continuing under Governor Coyne, we see gold reserves steadily increase from 529 tons in January 1951, nearly doubling to 1,015 tons in November 1955, before stabilizing at around 980 tons in 1956. On June 10, 1957, Canada elected a minority Conservative government led by John Diefenbaker, who appointed Donald Fleming as his finance minister, while James Coyne continued his tenure as Governor of the Bank of Canada before being replaced in July 1961 by Louis Resminski. 9 months later, on March 31, 1958, a second election was held that resulted in Diefenbaker receiving the largest parliamentary majority in the country's history, along with nearly 54% of the popular vote. After gold reserves stabilized at 980 tons throughout 1956 and 1957, there is a gradual decrease throughout 1958 until June and October 1959, when we see reserves drop by about 100 tons to around 855 tons. From there, reserves continue a gradual decline, reaching a low of 785 tons in March 1961, though recovering slightly to 810 tons at the time of Coyne's resignation that July in the midst of several political scandals. This period in Canadian political history was marked by several scandals involving the Bank of Canada, the first being an open conflict between Diefenbaker and Coyne over monetary policy, with Diefenbaker favoring a policy focused on increasing the money supply with the aim of generating low interest rates and incentivizing full employment. Meanwhile, Governor Coyne publicly criticized the government's policies and, in response to inflation, ordered a reduction of the money supply. Another controversy emerged as a result of Coyne's pension, which he had increased to $25,000 per year. For this, Diefenbaker tried to remove him from office, with the House of Commons even passing a bill to that effect, though it was subsequently blocked by the Liberal-controlled Senate. Coyne resigned the next day, but still managed to embarrass the government by keeping his pension, with Coyne living happily ever after and ultimately passing in 2012 at the ripe old age of 102. Following Coyne's resignation, Louis Resminski was appointed as governor, and under his tenure, we see reserves increase to 855 tons in April 1962, before the sudden liquidation of 216 tons that June, leaving only 594 tons. So what was happening in June 1962? The first half of 1962 was a politically and economically volatile year for Canada. Parliament was dissolved on April 19th ahead of the June 18th federal election, and in that time, several political and economic forces came to a head. In response to a weakening dollar, the government devalued the Canadian dollar to 92.5 cents US, whereas it had previously floated between 95 cents and parity with the US dollar. This move was widely unpopular and greatly harmed Diefenbaker's re-election campaign, as satirical Diefendollars were printed and widely circulated throughout the country. Following the June 18th election, which saw Diefenbaker lose his historic majority and emerge with a minority government that would be defeated a year later, on June 24th, in response to continuing pressure on the Canadian dollar, the government, under Finance Minister Donald Fleming, announced a major economic and financial program aimed at restoring confidence in the Canadian dollar, which presumably included selling off around 216 tons of gold, worth about $244 million US. Here I have included a summary of Canada's international reserves at the time, and we can see that in addition to selling off gold, the government effectively doubled its holdings of US dollars from $593 million to $1.1 billion, and also completely liquidated its reserve position in the IMF. Shortly after the June 1962 election and monetary crisis, we see gold reserves gradually increase once again. Meanwhile, in August, Finance Minister Donald Fleming was appointed as Justice Minister, at which time George Nowlin was appointed as the new Finance Minister. Another election was held on April 8, 1963, that resulted in Diefenbaker's Conservative